10th of this month for suspended license. He got an open simple battery, 4 counts, terroristic threats out of state court. It's 21 CR 002-526Y. 2021 ag assault reduced to pointing pistol at another conviction. 2010 burglary conviction.
The open simple battery, is that was that a pretrial bond?
I'm not sure. It's 2021, so they're probably not supervising it anymore. I'll
Okay.
check.
Thank you. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. McConkey.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident took place on December 25th, 2022. Officers arrived at the incident location 3215 Cushman Circle Southwest and met with the victim, Ms. LaShawn Brown, who stated that her child's father, the defendant, had assaulted her during a verbal dispute. The defendant had brought their 2-year-old daughter Christmas gifts and asked to stay longer at the residence. When the victim told him no, the defendant got upset, kicked her in the leg, punched her in the face, and then the defendant fell to the floor where the victim fell to the floor, I'm sorry. The victim fell to the floor where the defendant kicked her again. All of this occurred in front of the party's 2-year-old daughter. The victim sustained a busted lip as a result of the attack. Our office has had a chance to speak with the victim, Ms. LaShawn Brown, who stated that her and the defendant are in a relationship. They do live together and they share one child. They no longer live at the incident location, however. She says that she doesn't really recall this event. They have never been physical in the past, and they have had no violence since this incident. She stated she's not in fear of the defendant and wants to continue contact. The state's recommendation is a $2,500 surety bond, no further violent contact with the victim, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And at this time, I would ask the court to sound for the victim, Ms. LaShawn Brown.
Hi, if Ms. LaShawn Brown is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to activate your camera and I'll have to swear you in. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Brown.
Hey.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I don't recall the incident, and we stay together now. We have a child, so I'm not aware of what's going on.
Okay, so you all have been together since the alleged incident in December of 2022?
Yeah, we've been together since 2019.
And you want him to come back into the household?
Yes.
Okay, and you're not afraid of him?
No.
All right, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Kim.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. My client is gainfully employed right now, Your Honor, and he does traffic stops and temporary job. So, and also he has 3 minor children that he has to take care of, 2 3 years old and 13 years old. So he's still qualified for public defender services, Your Honor, and we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial level 1, or even better is signature on bond through jail, and no further violent contact, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, I've been told by pretrial that the previous case back in 2021 that I gave him a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. As such, for this charge, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the cruelty, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. That makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. No further violent contact with LaShawn Brown. Good luck to you, Mr. Walthall.
That's per judge.
Okay. Who do we have next?
We have position number 2, Mr. Brown.
Your Honor, may I say something? Was that Darius Walthall that the court just addressed?
Yes, position number 9, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. That Mr. Walthall is my client in another case.
Oh, okay. And
yes.
were you here for him today?
I was not because wasn't unaware. I knew that he was in Fulton County Jail, but I did not know he was going to appear on this. I appeared for him on Orca this morning, and of course, I knew he was locked up in jail.
Okay.
But I just wanted to put that out there that I actually represent him now. There's obviously some kind of conflict.
Okay, so we'll make sure that this case that we just had goes to you in the future. Okay, thank you.
Your Honor.
Who do we have now? Position number 2, Mr. Brown, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Brown. You've been charged in case 24CR004480C with battery, family violence, 2 counts, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Your history, Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, 2018 probation, 2013 suspended license.
What's the recommendation?
1.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Williams.
Yes, Your Honor. This is a July 8th incident date at the location of 823 Woods Street Northwest, and we were able to speak with the victim, Miss Ashley Barnes, who advised that the confrontation between herself and the defendant began because he had been sleeping outside of her home and was using her outlets and water hose. And when he asked if he could come in to shower, she said that he could not. So when she came out to turn off the hose, he began to attack her by ripping her glasses from off of her face, leaving a cut on her nose. He then forcefully pinned her up against the wall, resulting in her having bruises to her left leg. The two of them also have a 4-month-old child together, LB, that was present during the incident and in the victim's arms as he was being held by his mother during this attack. The defendant also snatched the child from his mother's arms and in doing so caused a scratch on the child's nose. The state recommends a $2,000 good bond on each of the battery, family violence charges and a $1,000 good bond on the cruelty to children. No further contact with Ashley Barnes and LB, and a stay away from 823 Wood Street Northwest. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And if we can sound for the victim, Miss Ashley Barnes.
Ms. Barnes, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Can you raise your right hand for me, ma'am? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Just everything she said was correct. I don't want any further contact with him regarding me, myself, or my son. Pretty much until I guess the case goes. I don't want him anywhere near my premises, around, or anything.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Barnes. Mr. Cook, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. My client's 31 years old. He's been working at Domino's for a couple of years. They do have a child together. He would have no problem with the no contact or the stay away. He has somewhere else to live. We would ask the court to consider the pretrial recommendation, which I think was a level 1.
Okay. Does he need a one-time escort with law enforcement?
Yes, I think it would. Oh, do you have anything in that reference that you need? My people will get it off every note. Okay, he says his family members would be able to get that.
So he does not need a one-time escort.
Does not need the escort now.
Okay. For each of the family violence, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the cruelty, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ashley Barnes, stay away from the 823 Woods Street address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Brown. You also, Ms. Barnes.
Next we have, no, that's it. This way. Next we have position number 3, Mr. Ford.
Okay, and on the last one, the breakdown was $2,000 for each of the batteries and $1,000 for the cruelty. I'm sorry, tell me again who we have.
We have position number 3, Mr. Ford.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Ford. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004473G with battery family violence. Is there history, Mr. Howard?
11, 2020 battery DV, 2020 failure to appear, 2019 drugs and obstruction, and 2018 FTA.
Recommendation?
1.
Ms.
Your Honor,
Williams?
this is a June 9th, 2024 incident date where Officer Pitts was flagged down by the victim. Upon speaking with her, Ms. Tamisha Brown, she advised that she was riding in the car with the defendant, who is her child's father. He started talking about one of her ex-boyfriends. As she ignored it, this upset him, and he backhanded her in the face. She tried to get out of the vehicle, but could not, and the defendant continued to hit her, causing swelling to her cheek. The defendant was driving recklessly and stopped the attack to focus on driving. That's when Ms. Brown advised that they had stopped at her job, the Publix at 2020 Howell Mill Road, where she told him that she works. She advised that the vehicle they were in, you have to open the door from the outside door handle in order to open it. And when she did so and put her arm outside of the window, the defendant rolled up the window. She was able to roll it down and exit the vehicle and run into the Publix. The defendant then left when the victim told him that there were officers inside. And Your Honor, there's a previous arrest for battery family violence back in 12/4/2020 under case number 20 CR 005-890Y. He took a plea to simple battery in that case, and this is the same victim in that case, Your Honor. There's also a battery from October 1st of 2019, a different victim in this case. The state recommends a $3,000 good bond, no further contact with Tamisha Brown, a stay away from her residence as well as her job at the 2020 Howell Mill Road. And if we can sound for the victim, Ms. Tamisha Brown.
If Ms. Brown is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
Is that her under Misha? I believe she's on the line. She under Misha.
Okay, well, if that is Ms. Tanisha Brown, and if you wish to address the court, of course, you do not have to, but if you wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. I'll need for you to unmute yourself and activate your camera if you do. I assume that if that is her, that she doesn't wish to speak, Mr. Cook.
Your Honor, my client is 24 years old, lived in this area his entire life. He's currently studying to be an HVAC tech. They do share a child together. They have more than one child, I believe, together. And when I spoke to Ms. Brown briefly today, I can only relate. What she told me is that she was not afraid of him and wanted to continue contact. With that in mind, we would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Okay, given that this just happened yesterday and the allegations, I'm not inclined to have for there to be contact at this time, but it will be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Tanisha Brown, stay away from her residence. He can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
And Your Honor, can we add a stay away from the her job at the Publix 2020 Howell Mill Road?
Okay, and stay away from the Publix on Howell Mill Road. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 4, Mr. Henderson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Henderson. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004474Y with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
23. 2023 theft by receiver out of Covington. 2021 trespass conviction. 2020 failure to appear probation. 2019 trespass obstruction conviction. 2018 violation of family violence order conviction. 2012 simple battery DV conviction. 2011 battery cruelty in the third trespass conviction. That's all.
Recommendation?
It's 3, but with this history, it'll be prejudicial.
Okay.
And Your Honor, this
Williams?
is a July 8th incident date, 2024, in the area of 210 Auburn Avenue Northeast, where the defendant, Mr. Henderson, did slap Nakobe Merriweather in the face. Miss Merriweather is the defendant's sister's girlfriend. The incident location is the defendant's sister's house, which is 210 Auburn Avenue Northeast. The victim advised us that they were all at the incident location, apartment 203, when the defendant was asked if he stole the victim's money. The victim stated that the defendant came into the room yelling and that she asked if he was done talking. And that question, he took that as disrespect and tried to snatch her phone out of her hand. He then slapped her in the face. The victim advised that her girlfriend, who is the defendant's sister, stated that the defendant is not allowed back at her home. That being the case, the state recommends a $1,500 good bond, no further contact with Nakobe Merriweather, a stay away from the incident location of 210 Auburn Avenue Northeast, apartment number 203, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And we'd like to sound for Ms. Nakobe Merriweather.
If Ms. Nakobe Merriweather is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
I do. Everything she said is correct.
Hold on, Ms. Merriweather. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. What would you like to tell the court?
And she said it's correct. I do want the stay away contact order. I don't feel like he's a danger to society or me or anyone else specifically. But yeah, that's really all I got to say. I don't feel like he's a danger to anybody. He's not a danger to me, but I do want the stay away thing, the contact order.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am. Mr. Cook, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 36 years old. He's lived in the Atlanta area his entire life. He has no issue with staying away from the alleged victim. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He lives at 211 in that same block. Miss Merriweather does not live there. He lives near his sister's location. So if there's a stay away, it can be a stay away from her, but we wouldn't want it to be a stay away from, say, the sister's residence because he lives in the same complex. We would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with Nakobe Merriweather, stay away from her address. I believe it's 203, apartment 203 at the 210 Auburn Avenue location, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Yeah, I don't believe she lives at 203. You could ask her, but I don't believe that's her address.
What is your apartment number, Miss Merriweather?
This is not my apartment. This is his sister's apartment. She's right here next to me. This is her apartment. I do visiting.
So are you visiting from out of state, or do you stay there?
Stay here. I'm visiting. I just visiting a friend. I live 3378 Greenbrier Parkway.
Okay, so he's to stay away from her apartment, and I guess if she's visiting, he can't have any contact with her. So He'd have to not be there when and if she is there at the 203 apartment.
Okay.
Okay? All right, good luck to you all.
Next, we have position number 5, Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004475H with driving while your license was suspended or revoked, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, failure to maintain insurance, and knowingly driving a motor vehicle on a suspended, canceled, or revoked registration. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
19. Last arrest was July 1st, suspended license. On probation and trespass, reckless conduct, theft by taking. 23 SC 186291. On probation for suspended license. That case number is 24 TR 030159. Just got put on probation for that May 1st. Got an open suspended license in DeKalb County. Open DUI possession of marijuana. 2 counts of battery, 1 count simple battery out of Clayton County. 2023, 2022 FTA, 2020 probation, 2016 FTA, 2015 FTA. That's it.
Mr. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor, this is a July 7th, 2024 incident date where Officer Walker was conducting a traffic stop on a vehicle being driven by the defendant around Hardwick Southeast and Bowen Avenue Southeast. The officer discovered that the vehicle had no valid insurance, a suspended registration, and that the driver, the defendant, Mr. Cedric Jackson, had a suspended license as well. He then conducted a traffic stop, and while doing so, Mr. Jackson and the passenger, who is the co-defendant, Janelle Porter, on this calendar, they immediately attempted to exit the vehicle and were told to stay inside and that he would inform them of the reason behind the stop. The passenger refused to stay inside the vehicle and exited. The defendant also refused to stay inside of the vehicle and attempted to exit. The officer again asked the defendant to stay in the vehicle and close the door. Again, he refused. The passenger, Ms. Porter, the co-defendant, came behind the officer. He informed her to stay from behind him as she yelled that she was not behind him, but was in front of him. At this moment, the officer grabbed the defendant in order to detain him, which he resisted, continued to grab inside of the vehicle, and kept reaching his hand behind his seat out of the officer's view. The defendant continued to refuse to comply with the command, so the officer pulled out his OC spray, showed it, and informed him he would be sprayed if he didn't comply. He continued to refuse and was OC sprayed. While doing so, the co-defendant, Ms. Porter, approached again, and she was OC'd as well. The state recommends on this case a $1,500 signature bond on the driving while license suspended or revoked, a $250 signature bond on each of the no insurance and canceled registration, and a $1,500 good bond on the obstruction of a law enforcement officer, no driving, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the recommendation from the state. If I could.
It's a $1,500 signature bond for the driving on a suspended license, a $1,500 good bond on the obstruction, a $250 on the failure to maintain lane SOB, and a $250 SOB on the knowingly driving with a suspended registration. Did I get that right, Ms. Williams?
Yes, except it's failure to maintain insurance, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Got it, Mr. Cook?
Yes. Given the nature of the charges, we would be seeking a signature bond on all charges at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
It will be a $250 good bond on each charge, making for a total of $1,000 good bond. No driving without a valid license, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, 10-15%.
All right, next we have position number 6, Mr. Johnson. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. You've been charged in case 24CR004476C with battery against a female who is pregnant. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest. Last arrest was July 2nd out of Candler County. Possession of drug-related objects to sell of marijuana. He went to felony earlier for ag assault. I was told he got no bond. So, yeah, that's it.
Ms. McConkey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Officers arrived at the incident location and met with the victim, Lila White, who stated that she and the defendant were having an argument when she tried to call the police and the defendant took her phone. The victim's mother, Leslie Fanazzi, told the defendant to leave the home because he was being disrespectful. As the victim's mother was walking the defendant out the door, he began pushing her. At that point, the victim tried to intervene to stop the altercation, and the defendant punched her in the head and the face. Officers did observe bruises on the victim's face and arm. The victim was 5 months pregnant with the defendant's child at the time of this incident, and this incident took place October 12, 2022. Our office has had a chance to speak with the victim, who stated that her and the defendant are no longer in a relationship. They do not live together, but they do share one child. She confirmed the incident location is her mother's residence, where she is currently living as well. She confirmed that her mother was trying to get the defendant to leave, but she denied that the defendant ever hit her. She stated something like this has never happened before. She's not in fear of the defendant, wants to continue contact, but did state that he is not allowed to come to the residence per her mother's request. However, the defendant has an open aggravated assault from a November 14th, 2023 incident where he allegedly shot through the residence 3 times while his daughter, the victim, and the victim's mother were inside. So given that, the state is recommending a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with Lila White, Leslie Fanazzi, or the minor child. Stay away from that incident location, which I have is 4001 Lakemont Drive in College Park. Anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, alcohol, or firearms while out on bond. And I would ask the court to sound for the victim, Ms. Lila White, at this time.
Ms. White, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, you, of course, do not have to, but if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If you can raise your right hand for me, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Hi, I would like to say that we are together and that I am not afraid of him. I'm sorry. And that I would like for us to have contact, and those events, some of those events are not true. I was not harmed. I am fine, and I would like for him to have contact with us, with me and my child.
Okay, you living at your mom's residence?
Yes.
And your mother does not want him there?
No, she doesn't.
Okay. Anything further, ma'am?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, we would have no objection. Just stay away from, obviously, from the mother's property. He lives somewhere else, but in light of what the alleged victim said, we would be seeking, further violent contact and a visitation with the child and an SOB through whatever level the court deems necessary. I can tell you that he's 20 years old and he has lived here his entire life. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll
He
be a
did not, he
10,000.
denies the allegation, of course, as the victim said.
Okay. It'll be a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further, given the date, no further violent contact with Ms. White, but he's to stay away from Ms. White's mother's residential address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you all. Who do we have next?
Signature bond.
We have position number 10, Mr. Williams.
You can have it in there.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004479A with 2 counts of battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
11/2022 out of Alabama, possession of a controlled substance. Larceny, ID theft. Those appear to be open. 2018 simple battery DV. A couple of probation violations, 2012, 2014.
Recommendation?
Level 2 if you give them single money.
Ms. Makaki?
Officers arrived at the incident location, 40 Peachtree Valley Road, Unit 2725, Atlanta, in regards to a fight in progress call. Upon arrival, officers spoke with both victims, Jane Marie Okafor and Victoria Onyeme, who advised that the defendant and Ms. Onyeme used to be in a relationship and were having an argument that became physical. Ms. Okafor advised that the defendant approached her first, grabbed her arm, and pushed her to the ground where she hit her head. Ms. Okafor sustained scratch marks and complained of pain in the back of her head. Ms. Onyeme stated that the defendant was trying to leave the residence with her car keys, and after she witnessed the defendant attack her cousin, she pushed him to the floor and got on top of him, where he then bit her foot and her hand. Due to the visible injuries on the victim, officers did arrest the defendant. Our office has had a chance to speak with one of the victims, Ms. Victoria Onyeme, who stated that her and the defendant are no longer in a relationship, don't live together, and don't share any children. She did state that the incident location is her cousin's residence and confirmed the events in the warrant, and stated that she had to be taken to the hospital to be treated for the bite marks. She said that the defendant has been physically violent with her in the past, and she has called the police, but this is the first time he has been arrested for violence against her. She stated she does not want to have any contact with the defendant. The state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond on each count of battery, no further contact with either victim, Jane Marie Okafor or Victoria Onyeme, stay away from that incident location, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And I would ask the court to sound for either of the victims, Ms. Okafor or Ms. Onyeme.
Ms. Onyeme or Ms. Okafor on the line and wish to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Good afternoon, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is denying the allegation, Your Honor. He is 31 years old and he is gainfully employed. He does home improvement and he does not have any child. Your Honor, he does have a Gwinnett Tech College. He studied operation room technology. He graduated from high school successfully. Your Honor, he has been here in Georgia for more than 16 years. His parents are here. He's not a flight risk, and he denies the allegation. He does believe that there should be a recording voices of him asking them to let him go, but they were basically falsely imprisoning him, pushing him down. He was the one who was pushed down on the ground, and the only way that he could get out of the being put down was basically things happened out of self-defense. That's what he claims, and we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 1. And Your Honor, he has no violence history. Thank you.
All right, for each charge, it'll be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2, makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with either of the alleged victims, stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
So you said that's 2,500 on each?
Correct, yes.
Okay. We can go to ACDC.
Okay, let's see. Good afternoon, Officer Milton. Who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is coming up. Wrong paper. Ms. Porter, I'm sorry, Ms. Bell, position number 1. And then Ms. Porter is position number 7.
Okay.
Ms. Bell.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bell. You've been charged in case 24 CR 004481C with theft by taking. Is there a history?
10. 2024 probation, theft by taking. 2023 theft by taking. 2019 probation. 2019 FTA, well, 2 of them. Got a 2019 terrorist threats, harassing phone calls, NOLO. Drug possession from 2019, first offender. I think that booking sheet says CPO, so she got to return to Clayton County. Plus, I saw a juvie hole. That's it.
Williams?
Your Honor, this is a December 26th of 2023 incident where Officer Crisp reviewed video of a theft that occurred at the Waffle House located at 1674 Washington Road in East Point. The defendant was the same person from a Riverdale police BOLO call. And the video of the incident showed the defendant come into the Waffle House, access the cash register, and take funds of $175 and leave the scene. Her name and date of birth were given, and the picture on the BOLO and the person in the video from the incident were the same. The state is recommending a $2,000 good bond to stay away from the incident, location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And it looks like she has an open theft case under 23 CR 007108C. She was given a $15 surety in that case, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Who's representing Ms. Bell?
Keith Cook, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, my client is 29 years old. She's lived in the area her entire life. She's currently homeless. She does have a mailing address for that she uses through a friend. She has been, according to my client, not able to verify this because I couldn't get in touch with all the appropriate people, that she's been accepted to Mary Hall, Freedom Village, and Dunwoody as an inpatient rehab patient for substance abuse, and they're just more or less waiting for her to take care of all her business at the I guess here, and I think there's some holds in Clayton County. With that in mind, we would be asking for a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate. And we have no objection to any stay away that might be required.
Okay, it'll be $100 good bond. Stay away from the Waffle House on Washington Road. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If she's not able to make that bond, let's see if we can see both of these cases on the SAP calendar on July 23rd. Miss Bridgewater, did you get that other?
No, sir. Will you give me that case number?
Miss Williams, do you have that for me?
I do, Your Honor. It's 23 CR 007108C.
Okay, 23 CR 007108C.
Yes, ma'am.
Put this case on July 23rd. Got it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good luck to you, Miss Bell.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Porter, position number 7.
Yes, good afternoon. Ms. Porter, you've been charged in case 24 CR 004482Y with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Does she have a history, Mr. Howard?
No, in jail.
Okay, and did you have anything that you wanted to add to this was a there was a co-defendant in this case, right, Ms. McConkey?
Yes, that is correct. I have no additional facts to add, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Okay, Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I would be asking for a signature bond through the jail for my client. This is just a case of police officer overreach, Your Honor. My client's boyfriend was arrested and she took her phone and was taking some video, and the police officer objected to it and he arrested her.
Okay,
We
it'll be
believe that this was I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was
I'm
just
sorry.
saying we believe this was an improper arrest, and that's the position we intend to take going forward.
It'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank
Good luck
you.
to you. Okay, I believe the only other case that we have this afternoon is a waiver, position number 8.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yes, yes, sir.
Okay, that's Rose Turner, case 24 CR 004477D, charged with 2 counts of simple battery, criminal trespass, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is your history, Mr. Howard?
Second, 2023 trespass. That's all.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would like to request for a breakout room, or at least stop the YouTube live stream, Your Honor, for an MH issue.
Okay, if we can